During Jesus' crucifixion, there were those uncommon or unique personalities that actually came to him when his disciples deserted him. Welcome to Bible Speaks Today, an online platform that engages biblical insights and and we check whether the Bible is relevant in such a time as this. My name is John Kimani. Now we begin Mark chapter 15. We are almost closing up, and we see that very early in the morning, what happens now? The whole entourage, the whole religious class, that is the chief priest, the elders, and the teachers of the law, and the whole of Sanhedrin. Now, what happens to them? They make plans. And what kind of plans are they making? We should say they are deadly. They are wicked plans. And so, what do? They bound Jesus. In chapter 14, they had already arrested him, of course, through a kiss from Judas Iscariot, and they lead him away and hand him over to Pilate. And the reason why they do this, why they hand over him to Pilate, is because they lacked the legal power to be able to judge Jesus and even to commit him. They lack the power to execute the criminals. This was the official way, and so. But again, there were times when they defied this order, especially in the stoning of Stephen, the martyr who died in Acts chapter 7, and they did not also want to commit to kill Jesus Christ because they were afraid of the multitude that loved him. And again, because Pilate was this ruthless, insensitive kind of a guy, they expect a favorable judgment from the Pilate. And so they took him there, and when he's in front of Pilate, Pilate asked sarcastically, "Are you the king of Jews?" And this accusation means several things. It means that this was different from what Jesus was. Jesus was not a political king. Jesus was not, he did not have such a tagline. It is something that he did not want to be known for. It was different from what he used to be. It was different from what he did. The accusation that "Are you the King of Kings?" was different from who Jesus was. It was different from what he did, and it was different from what he really wanted to be known for. He did not want to be to have a political tagline. And so we continue reading there. We see, and Jesus replies in a very smart way. He said, "You have said so." In other words, he does not actually say, "Yes, I am the King of Jews," but he says, "As you say, so it is." And since this accusation did not hold water, what happens is that they accused him of many things. And so again, the Pilate asked him, "Are you not going to answer? See how many things they are accusing you of." Jesus, in a very strange manner, Jesus keeps mum, but he does not reply. Jesus makes no reply, and Pilate is actually amazed. Pilate is wondered and is greatly shocked at Jesus' silence. He is like, "How comes you've been accused? How comes they are saying bad things about you? How comes you're not able to open up your mouth?" Because the legal state was that when you are accused by your accusers, you are supposed to either call up witness or you're supposed to call up a defense, which Jesus actually does not. Now, Mark continues to tell us, now it was custom at the festival to release a prisoner whom the people requested. And so, because Pilate did not have good ground for killing Jesus, Pilate did not have legal grounds. The accusation that Jesus accusers were presenting against him were not tight. They were weak. They were not able to actually pinpoint something that Jesus Christ had done. And it's amazing that Jesus Christ was actually innocent. And so what they do is that they opt to have Barnabas, who was accused of insurrection of treason. They ask, allow us to release Barnabas for us. They wanted to have a criminal to be with them. They wanted to have a wicked man, and it is baffling that Pilate would recommend such a thing. He exercised mercy towards Jesus Christ. It is a confirmation that he found Jesus Christ to be innocent. He found Jesus Christ as one who did not have any mistake. And verse 10 we read, knowing that it was out of selfish interest that the chief priest had handed over Jesus to him, but the chief priest stirred up the crowd to have Pilate release Barnabas instead. And Pilate, and we continue reading that, what shall I do then with the one you call the King of the Jews? And verse 13, they say the crazy thing, crucify him, they shouted. And Pilate asked, why? What crime has he committed? But these people, instead of answering the question that Pilate is asking, instead of reasoning to the plea or to the innocence of Jesus Christ, instead of following the train of thought, instead of saying, answering the question, they actually said with a lot of vigor, with a lot of energy, they said, release for us a criminal. Well, Jesus Christ is a worse criminal than Barnabas. Have Jesus Christ crucified. Let Jesus go through the capital offense. Let Jesus Christ die. He is a bad guy. And verse 15, something happened. Now we need to establish that Pilate actually examined Jesus and found him innocent. But in verse 15, there is something very interesting that we read there, because it says, wanting to satisfy the crowd. What does they do? He releases the criminal, the bad guy, and he has Jesus Christ flogged. He faced quite an unpleasant experience and of being beaten. And then what does he do? He hands him over. He gives in to the demand. He gives in to the pressure. He knew that Jesus Christ was innocent. He knew Jesus Christ had done nothing wrong. But what does he do? He hands him over because of the following. Because we need to ask, why did Pilate give in to pressure? Number one, he was an indecisive man. It just shows somebody who lacked principles. It just shows somebody who was scared, somebody who was insecure. Again, he did it for political reasons. And you see, sometimes for political reasons, because handing over Jesus Christ to the demands of the people was for his political convenience, so that he will not be accused. Because one of the biggest sins that would have rubbed shoulders against him and Caesar, who was his boss, was to cause a riot. And when he saw that the people were about to riot, what did he do? He gave in to the pressure. And it invites us to be praying for politicians, that even when they are making demands, even when they are making policies, even when they are making out rules, that they will not do them. They will not do them for political convenience, out of fear, out of pressure, out of intimidation. And so, verse 16, Jesus Christ is led away into the palace, that is Praetorium, and a whole company of soldiers are called. They put on a purple robe on him, which is actually mockery, and then they began to call him, "Hey, the King of Jews!" And again and again they struck him to the head with a staff, and this staff was the one that they had given him as a king. And Jesus Christ falls in the knees, and they fall on their knees in mockery, and they pay homage to him, and they continue mocking him. That is verse 20. They took off the purple robe and put on his own clothes on him. Then they led him to crucify him. They led him. A centurion goes before him, and a healer goes after him, announcing the crime of the offender. That was the pain and the hostility that those who were condemned to be crucified went through. And so we continue in verse 21. As Jesus Christ is going towards Golgotha, there's a guy called Simon Siren, and we wondered why Simon Peter, who had actually said that I will follow you to the end, he must have been running away. And so Simon from Cyrene, the father of Alexander and Lavas, which means red-haired, a notable Christian, is forced to carry the cross of Jesus. And this was a big humiliation for Simon. And this is the first servant that actually is caught and forced to do something very humiliating. The cross was a heavy staff, and Simon from Cyrene carries around 35 to 75 kilogram kind of a load, and he takes us to the place where Jesus Christ will be crucified. And he was forced to do it, and he did it because Simon Peter and other disciples had ran away. And so they brought, note the word they brought, because he was fatigued, he was tired from the beating, from the shame, he could not talk. And so they take him to the place called Golgotha, and they offered him wine. It was supposed to give him relief, and they crucified him. They crucified him. They divided up his cross and cast it out to see who would get. Now it is very important to note that though the victims of those that were condemned to be crucified were actually stripped naked, it was only sometimes for security purposes that they would cover the loin part. Just to cover shame. Now it is around 9 in the morning when they crucified him, and a charge was placed which read, the King of the Jews. It was mockery of the sins that Jesus had done. But and it is very interesting that it is a message of hope that Jesus Christ is the King of Jews. He is the one that leads the Jews. He is the one who we owe allegiance to. He is the one who controls our lives. He is the one that we owe loyalty. It is to him that we owe allegiance. He is the King, and he has a kingdom. If he is the King, then it means he has the kingdom, and we belong to the kingdom. The beauty of it is the kingdom of the chosen generation. The kingdom of Jesus Christ is an everlasting kingdom. It's a holy kingdom. It's a powerful kingdom. It's a kingdom without an end. And so the accusation that Jesus Christ is the King of Jews, it was to be mockery. It was something to be laughed at. It was a contempt. But for us, we know as Christians that we belong to the kingdom of God. We have the power. We have the dominion. We have the authority. We have the wealth. We have a king. Beautiful there. So they crucified him with 2 thieves, one on the right and one on the left. And then as they passed, they continued insulting him. And they said, you said you can destroy the temple and build it in days. Can you do it from that end? And so they continued mocking him, telling him, can you come down from the cross and save yourself? But and the chief priests did the same. The teachers of the law did the same. They said, he saved others. Why don't he save himself? But he cannot save himself. Let this Messiah, the King of Israel, come down now from the cross that we may see and believe. But I can tell you, Jesus Christ in a short while, in the count of 3 days, will do something of bigger magnitude than coming from the cross. He would actually resurrect from the dead. But the funny thing is that these people did not believe in him. And so at around noon, there was the whole area was dark. There was what we call sun eclipse, something extraordinary that happened. And Jesus Christ cries, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. In other words, Jesus Christ, why have you rejected me? Why have you forsaken me? At that hour, the Father did not look on Jesus because of the sin, because the wrath of sinful nature was all on him. And we see the misunderstanding that happened there, and somebody, when he heard Jesus Christ saying Eloi Eloi lama sabachthani, goes runs and fills a sponge with wine vinegar, put it on a staff, and offered it to Jesus Christ. And this was, the victims of that were crucified actually were dehydrated, and they needed water, and for Jesus Christ to sense to feel refreshed, this vinegar would do it very quickly. And they say in mockery now, leave him alone, they are saying, and let's see if Elijah will come down. And very interesting, verse 37, with a loud cry, Jesus breathed his last. Jesus died as a king. Normally, victims from crucifixion died slowly. They did not shout. They died silently. But for Jesus Christ, from the cross, he died with a loud cry. He had the energy. He had the vigor. Despite the beating, despite the humiliation, despite the carrying a heavy cross, despite all that, Jesus Christ was still energetic. And it means for us as believers that no matter the tribulations that we may go through, no matter the challenges that we go through, no matter the problems that we go through, we are going to be strong. We are going to be energetic. We are going to be conscious. The problems, the persecutions, the challenges that we go through, they cannot overwhelm us. Even at our dying point, we shall be strong in faith. We shall declare the goodness and the faithfulness of God, because when Jesus Christ died, he did not die like any other person. And actually, Jesus Christ, the loud cry that he said in Greek is called tetelestai, which means I have paid it in full. This is the declaration that Jesus did on the cross. It is paid in full. Tetelestai. He has paid it in full. I have completed the mission. This was a very important declaration that Jesus did before he died. He said our sins have been paid for. We do not owe any debt from the devil. He said, I have completed the assignment and I've done it completely. And so, fellow believer, when the devil reminds you of your sin, when the devil reminds you of the mistakes that you've done, when the enemy reminds you of things that you've done, you need to remind him that Jesus said, tetelestai, paid it in full. And something very strange actually happens after that declaration. The temple curtain tore from top to bottom, declaring that we have an access to go to God. We do not need any human agent to take us before God. We have access to go to God. And it is very interesting when the centurion who stood there saw it, he said, surely this was the Son of God. Surely this was the King of Jews. Surely Jesus is unique. Surely this is not just another ordinary guy. And can we encourage you tonight and tell you, in no matter the challenges that we are going through, we have one who is the Son of God. We have one who is divine. We have one who is heavenly. We have one who is powerful. We have one who is great. We have one who is the Son of God. If the temple curtain can tore from top to bottom, if he died on a loud voice, then Jesus is not your ordinary folk. Jesus is the King of Kings, the Prince of Peace. He can handle your challenges. He can handle your business. He can handle your marriage. He can handle your life. It doesn't matter how destroyed it is. It doesn't matter how bad it is. Jesus is the Son of God. So some women are watching from a distance. That must be verse 40. And among them are Mary, the mother of James, and the younger of Joseph, and Salome. Even during this dark hour, see these beautiful, wonderful women following Jesus Christ. And for those of you who think women are good for nothing, you need to read this and see women are very important. And in Galilee, these women followed him and cared for his needs, and many other women had come up with him to Jerusalem. Now Jesus actually have died, and so it is burial. And so another second disciple actually comes up. He's called Joseph of Arimathea. Arimathea is a town in Palestine. He was prominent, was not just another ordinary guy. He was respectable, he was high standing, he was decent, he was respectable, he was honorable, he was part of the Sanhedrin, and he must have abstained from condemning Jesus to death, and goes to Pilate in a bold way and says, I gonna bury Jesus. Then, victims of from the cross were left to die. Actually, they were allowed. They allowed wild animals and birds to come and eat the flesh. No wonder the place where Jesus Christ was buried is called the place of the skull. And so we are saying that Jesus Christ, right there on the cross, I mean, after Joseph Arimathea goes there, he volunteers himself, he offers a new grave for Jesus Christ and buries Jesus Christ. He shows he treated Jesus Christ with a lot of respect, and he shows that Jesus Christ has disciples even in the most unlikely places. And Joseph of Arimathea shows somebody who can be in an evil system. He shows somebody who can be in a wicked system, in a perverted situation, but who chooses to do the right thing. And I'm asking you, you might be a police officer, you might be working in KRA, in those rotten places that we don't like identifying, but you can be different like Joseph of Arimathea. You can still serve God using the influence, using the position that God has given to you. Joseph of Arimathea was part of the Sanhedrin, but he refused, he abstained from condemning Jesus Christ. Actually, he honored Jesus by offering to bury him. He was not supposed to be buried. He was supposed to be discarded, but he chose to offer himself and give his grave to Jesus Christ. And Pilate is surprised that that Jesus Christ is dead. He did not expect him to die this soon. It's a confirmation for those who say Jesus Christ did not die. They need to read this again. And so when they ran, they had to confirm that. Pilate had to confirm that. And so they lapped up the body of Jesus Christ. Hurriedly they prepared and they placed him in the tomb. And that marks the end of this chapter, where Mary the Magdalene and mother of Joseph saw where Jesus was buried. It's very interesting that even in the most unique time, even in those discouraging times, that Jesus Christ has servants like Joseph, like Simon, who can come out there and still serve Jesus Christ. And we want to encourage you that though Jesus Christ died, he did not die like any other ordinary thief, but he died in a special and a mighty way. We want to thank those of you that have actually followed us in this program. May the Lord bless you. That was Bible Speaks Today, Mark chapter 15. We still continue to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You shall find the link at the tail end of this program. My name is John Kimani, and remember what we always say here in Awezekana.